Yeah, right. Here on Hawksby and Jacobs, it's time now to look ahead to the January transfer window with Inuit QuickBooks.
Transfer window. Breaking news on talkSPORT with Intuit QuickBooks. Tackle your self-assessment with Intuit QuickBooks. Search QuickBooks to find out more.
Which means, of course, we'll be joined by our transfer correspondent, Czar, Ben Jacobs. Afternoon, Ben.
Hello, Ben.
Good afternoon. Love all the different nicknames this time of year. Guru, Czar.
Yeah.
Sure. What do you want to give yourself? Transfer window cleaner. That's what I quite like.
Yeah, I think if we speak to the missus, she would prefer cleaner. That's what I need to do around the Christmas period.
You should get a uniform, some kind of admiral's hat and a jacket with epaulets on it. Yeah. Transfer admiral. I'd like that very much indeed. Ben, of course, everyone's going to talk about Antoine Semenyo, and we will in a minute. But much more concrete, apparently, is the moves around Tottenham wide player and striker, of course, leading goal scorer for Spurs last season, Brennan Johnson. What's the latest?
Yeah, so Brennan Johnson is expected to leave Tottenham during the winter window, paving the way for them to add another left-sided attacker, but probably someone that can also play through the middle. And Crystal Palace have tried to move really fast here, and they've succeeded in reaching an agreement in principle with Tottenham for what I understand to be £33.5 million. And the reason why Palace wanted to be quick is because they realised that there would be other suitors. The problem is that Brennan Johnson hasn't yet said yes. It's not to say he doesn't want the move, but the Wales international is waiting to see who else comes forwards. Bournemouth are obviously one to watch when you consider that Antoine Semenyo is on the verge of joining Manchester City. But I'm also told, as we revealed earlier on talkSPORT, Everton and Sunderland are both considering a move as well. So it looks like Palace want to get a move on, but Brennan Johnson has put the brakes on and he's inviting other offers before making his final decision. But there's enough interest and people prepared to pay the valuation. Tottenham's fee when they signed Johnson was £47.5 million. They're prepared to do a deal for under £35 million. And I do expect some other formal offers in the coming days before Brennan Johnson finally makes his decision as to where he wants to go. And Crystal Palace face a bit of a nervous wait to see whether it's them.
He'll always remain a hero to me, of course, because he apparently put that ball across the line in the Europa League final.
Are you surprised, Danny? I'm very surprised at this. As a Spurs fan, are you surprised at this, Danny?
Yes and no. Yes, because it'll mean it'll be the third year running that Spurs have let their leading goal scorer from the previous season go within a few months, Kane, Son, Johnson. No, because he doesn't seem as effective on the left-hand side as he is on the right. And Mohamed Kudus has kind of taken that position from him. Spurs have got a lot of very similar wide players. There's a really good player in there. Johnson's a really good player. But if the manager doesn't fancy him, and if Kudus is completely taking his obvious spot in the team, Spurs have been criticised over the years, Charlie, for not selling their players at the right time. And I suspect if they can get 35 million for him, or 33.5, Ben, it's probably the right time. Also, you know, he hasn't played very much, and these young players, it's a waste of talent to, it's not like he's even coming off the bench regularly. He doesn't always get on the pitch. So, yes, I'm surprised, but no, I understand the logic of it, I guess is the question. Wide players who can score goals, all the rage, Ben. What's the latest on Antoine Semenyo? Because we heard earlier on, I think it was Jamie O'Hara saying Manchester City have already got, what they've got, and now they look like they're adding what he described as the best player outside of the top six in England.
Yeah, and I think this deal will happen. We revealed yesterday on talkSPORT that the formalisation could come within 48 hours. Manchester City want to move fast so they can avoid any potential surprises, although it's all quiet at the moment on the Liverpool front. The fee is expected to be 65 million via that release clause, but it's actually more like 60 plus add-ons, and then from Bournemouth's point of view, they can classify a solidarity payment, taking the total book valuation for them to £65 million. Bristol City get a cut as well, so it's a great deal for them. And the parties have basically been negotiating two things in the last 24 hours. The first is the payment terms. Some release clauses, they're very rigid, like Matheus Cunha to Manchester United, and you either match the payment structure or you walk away. Whereas in this instance, Bournemouth are prepared to negotiate, and that's kind of what's taken place in the last 24 hours. And we're very close now to an agreement in principle. And yet, from Bournemouth's point of view, a slight delay is a good thing because they've got a busy festive period. And the expectation at the moment, anyway, let's see if it changes throughout the day. But right now, it appears like Semenyo will be in the Bournemouth squad for Chelsea. And then after that game is out the way, finalise his move to Man City, which will pave the way for Oscar Bob to go out on loan somewhere. Dortmund are one of the suitors. Spurs might be tempted to come back in for Semenyo. He's one of their left-sided options still if Man City change their mind about selling. And also for Spurs, by the way, Yandi Amande is another player on their radar as well. So I think Man City are going to be busy, not just in terms of Semenyo. They want a midfielder as well, either for January or the summer. And then some outgoings from some of their many wingers are going to be necessary. Otherwise, that squad is going to appear a bit too bloated, assuming, as we expect, Semenyo arrives.
And speaking of Manchester City midfielders, I was surprised this morning, Ben, to see James McAtee, only recently left Manchester City for Nottingham Forest, being linked with Chelsea.
Yeah, it's not necessarily Chelsea, although I can understand why people are making that link, because if you're part of Blueco, there's always a potential pathway to Chelsea. But my understanding is there's quite a clear-cut divide at the moment. Chelsea are happy with what they've got in that position, and Strasbourg are the club that are keen on loaning James McAtee. And of course, were it to just be a straight loan, there wouldn't necessarily be a Chelsea component to it because he'd just go back after that. But if it's a loan with a buy option or an obligation, then you think you go via Blueco, Strasbourg first, and there might be a long-term opportunity to rise up based on how he performs. But I'm told very clearly by sources that if McAtee goes to the Blueco group, it is Strasbourg, not Chelsea for January, and it's one to keep an eye on. And Leeds, of course, are another club taking a very close look at the same player.
Yeah, I mean, a very, very good footballer, but at 23, he needs to be getting more minutes than he's currently getting as well. He's not a child anymore. Ben, it's been a joy, and it's also been educational. Thank you very, very much indeed. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Ben Jacobs there, who will be a whole team of people keeping you, along with Alex Crook, keeping you across everything that happens. And he did say Happy New Year back. He wasn't being impolite there. We just cut him off in his prime. Now, listen, here's something for you. The latest episode of How to Win the World Cup is available, and it's a Christmas special with Matt Ford and the England legend Stuart Pearce. Matt asks Stuart what life is like for a footballer around the festive period, and if certain England players will be extra careful this year with the World Cup just around the corner. He also explained how seriously legendary Forest manager Brian Clough took training over the Christmas period. New episodes will be available every week between now and the summer's tournament in America and can be found on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.